So, starting off with Bunny Girl Claire. So Bunny Girl Claire is a character that she has, where's her base speed? 104 base speed, which is pretty average. It's slightly above average. I think 100 is like decent. Lacey being above average at 115, and Rosaria being at 109. So 104 is not terrible. You're gonna go before Ashura, I think. See, I didn't prep this too well, but I think you do go before Ashura. Or you same speed as Ashura, so you can build yours to be. It's kind of hard. She's a DPS, but she has 50% free crit rate. But you could build her to cut Ashura and possibly even kill it. 50% crit damage, everything's base. Are you joking? Oh, they don't show you her kits? Bro. That's annoying. But basically what she does is her S3 has 50% crit rate, and it gives you crit rate. And then her S2 can proc her S1 at max, like elemental stacks. I think it's chill for blue. So she's pretty decent. I would say she's a good unit to use. I wouldn't say that she's meta, because the meta units have things that force them to be either picked or banned, and or make them a reasonable enough threat that you pretty much have to target them the whole fight, or have some type of game plan for them. Bunny Girl Charlotte is a little bit different. She has, her gimmick is that every turn she like spawns 3 balls, and if she gets like a 7 ball 3 times, it resets her S3. So she's an RNG unit that can theoretically S3 every turn, and it's an AoE speed down every single turn. It's pretty good. I'd say she's decent. I wouldn't necessarily say she's niche, because niche requires like very specific setups to work in PvP. But I would say that she's decent. I would say that she's usable. You could probably use her to counter Mina, Belle, because she has S2 into S3, and you could probably like push up with Sierra or something in S3 again if you're lucky. You know, things like that. Because you get 2 turns to like roll your balls, and if you get like 3 7 balls in those 2 turns, you can S3 and then S3 again, right? Mina, I'm gonna put Mina in good units. She has a lot of utility because she has bleed that goes through barrier. Emily, a big reason Emily's good is because she has that big barrier that she puts on you. Mina just completely bypasses that, and her AoE has really good scaling, so she's a really good cleave unit to pair with like Luna. Like Luna's 100% bind into Mina's like a super nuke. Same thing with Lacey into Mina is a super nuke. Like pretty much a lot of AoEs. You could just run her as an AoE cleave unit. I'd say she's really good. Would I say she's better than Bunny Girl Claire? I'd say yes. She counters Emily, she counters Frey, she counters Carmen. I'd say she's better. She's better than Claire, because Claire counters really just Bunny Girl Charlotte, not really even Hilde, and not really even Ashura. So I would say that Yumina is probably better here. Hilde is, I would say, a meta unit for a few reasons. She has something called defense forward. I'm not sure if Taichara is going to show this. Is it going to show her kit? Nope. Oh yeah, it is. So she has preemptive defense, 30% chance to go in front and just take the attack that is single target that somebody else is supposed to take. It's a 30% chance, very good. Can really save you in situations. She also gives a barrier 15% up to 30% at max dupe. Immunity and defense up on her S2, so let's say you're about to run into somebody who's about to do like some really nasty AoE spam on you. You could just do S2 instead of S3. And her S3 gives a taunt to the enemy with the highest action gauge. So if you build a really fast build, I'm not too sure what her base speed is. I think she has a low base speed, yeah, 95. So you could try to build a fast tilt. If not, you could just try to build her to go after the enemy's opener. And she could just taunt whoever's supposed to do damage, because you can make her just go before like the actual DPS. If you're not fighting Asher, and she's like really good there. She's also just a really good sustain because of the barrier as well, right? So I'd say she's definitely a meta unit. She counters pretty much every green character that's in the game right now, because they can't do anything to her. Like the green units cannot kill her. Ashura, obviously the best unit in the game in both PvP and PvE. That push-up is no joke. Right now, she's a little bit worse because people don't have as many units that can benefit from Ashura's push-up. But I feel like once people start building up units like Muriel and Charlotte and Luna and like Kyra, for example, or even Trish to like nuke out a or to help nuke out a blue tank like Emily, for example. I think Astra is probably definitively going to be one of the best units, if not the best unit, continuously. After that, I would say Bunny Girl Charlotte's the best unit in the game. Her damage potential is just really, really ridiculous. She has guaranteed crit. She can reset her S3. She gives attack buff to the entire team. Like she's ridiculous. Not really much to be said about her. I would say Emily's slightly better than Charlotte because she provides support, damage, and actually I would say Emily's even better than Ashura. Because on top of her giving barrier and attack buff to your DPS that you need to protect, she gives you AoE defense buffs. If you attack everybody but Emily and you don't kill Emily fast, and you don't have the ability to burst her down as the last unit, every time you would every 4 turns you attack her. What do you mean bias? Shade, what do you mean bias? We got this guy in the chat talking about some bias. Like what are you saying? Who is this guy? Anyways, back to what I was saying. I think that Emily's a little bit. Where's the tier list? Oh my goodness. Oh, I see what happened. Let's do this. And then, there we go. And then we have to move the. My apologies, chat. Hold on. There we go. Put that back there. Anyways, like I was saying, Yumina bias. It's not Yumina bias. Yumina's better than Bunny Girl Claire because you can use her. I explained this already. I don't know if you're in the chat a little bit late, Shade v Britannia, but you legit, you could run Yumina as a cleave unit, right? This is your forte, cleave, right? You could run Ashura into Luna. Luna has AoE bind. Bind is a debuff that increases the damage of AoE abilities. You go that into like Lacey into Yumina, the entire enemy team is dead already before they even get a turn, right? And that's so high value, and she has such high damage scaling and the free crit rate that she gets that you could just build her really high damage and she doesn't even necessarily need speed boots. So you could just run her and just nuke her with her. Like she's not worse than Bunny Girl Claire. Bunny Girl Claire is like kinda niche-ish, but she also has enough DPS to be a reliable threat against red units. And it just so happens that red units are really strong right now. So that's the reason why Claire is really high up here. Otherwise, Claire would just be indecent. So there's that. So yeah, but like I was saying before I got interrupted by this guy who said I have Yumina bias. I don't have Yumina bias. Emily. So I think Emily is better because, like I said, if you don't have the means to kill Emily before she takes another turn, she can pretty much S3 you every single turn, and then her S1, if she has Nova Burst, she can also barrier to increase her sustain so that she can keep taking hits from you, so that she can keep S3ing you. I've literally 1v4'd somebody in arena with Emily before, just because they decided to kill every other unit but Emily because they understood the threat of her S3. But you have to burst her down, which is why I think there's a couple of units in here that people don't think are necessarily that good, that I think are going to be decent strictly because they can kill Emily, right? I would say Belle, obviously another meta pick. I do also think that she's better than Ashura, strictly because she is, if I'm not incorrect, one of the fastest units in the game. I think she's at 112 base speed, which is only slightly lower than Lacey. So technically she'd be the fastest debuffer unit. And what she does, there we go. What she does is okay, we're not gonna show it. She has silence and she removes all your buffs with her S3. So she can just go before Ashura, silence Ashura. Ashura is a useless unit. And she does good damage. So Belle is just ridiculous because she's fast and she can silence you. It's pretty clear cut, but she's ridiculous. And she can do that to Emily. She can do that to any unit pretty much. Even to the red units, she can land the debuff. Oh, I lost. Okay, that's better. Because now I can show the actual stats of these units and what they do. I don't have Belle. I just didn't choose her from the selector yet, but I fought her once, and then I have her permabanned ever since I fought her. This goes up to 100% chance. Whoops. This goes up to 100% chance to silence, and she removes all your buffs. And then she gives herself leap stacks, and then her leap stacks allow her to get, oh well, not her leap stacks, but she just gets alt gauge whenever somebody dies. An ally or enemy. And at max dupe, this is a 50% CR push. So let's say she just almost killed your unit, right? She goes first before anybody else, right? She gets your unit down to 30% HP. Ashura goes or whoever else goes and they kill the unit. She comes back with this accuracy down that makes it so that you have a less chance to hit. This accuracy doesn't mean you reduce your effect hit rate. It means that you reduce your chance for the enemy to hit you. It's kind of like pseudo evasion, right? And I think this goes up to 75%. Let me double check. 10, 15. Yeah, it goes up to 75% chance to accuracy down, and then she gives herself speed up so she goes even faster again, and then she can just S1 you. And she's an attack scaler that gets more attack every time somebody dies. So she's stronger when she uses that S2. This character is ridiculous. This character is just borderline ridiculous, right? I would say she's still worse than Emily, because if you have a fast enough Emily or a tanky enough Emily, you could survive the hit, and because Emily has that extra turn and that barrier, you can still find utility out of her. People are going to disagree with this one, but I actually think Roberta is meta. I just think not enough people understand how to use Roberta yet. She's a unit that I think you probably want still on crit necklace, or not speed necklace, but I think attack boots, because she does so much damage with that counter attack, and she gets, I believe, 20% CR boost if I'm not mistaken. She gets a 20% CR boost from using her S2. Oh, come on. Oh, okay. Well, loaded now, but she's 100 base speed. I guess I could just look it up here. Yeah, I need to stop just using that website and just use this. Roberta, we get it from the day 10. This S2 that she has is a nuke, and it increases your action gauge by 15% up to, is it 30 or 25? 30, up to 30%. 30% action gauge boost is ridiculous in a speed-based PvP RTA game. Like, you could have her at basically no speed, and she's gonna take the turn. She's like Celine from Epic 7. And let's say you have, like, let's say they release a stun unit. This unit's gonna be meta for a very long time because she has self-cleanse. People don't even know this. She has self-cleanse. So let's say somebody hits you with like an AoE stun, she'll cleanse it, she'll hit you with fast track, and she'll take the turn. And then she does more damage as well the more dupes you have. So at max dupe, this character is dishing out so much damage that she's probably almost killing your unit, and then following up with this to push herself up a little bit more. I think it's another 50% here. I think this goes up to 50. Yeah, because this is 30, and then she gets another 20% if she's at max leap stacks. Like, bro, it's another 50% CR push just to S2 again, because this is a 2-turn cooldown. What? Like, that's ridiculous. And then this is also a nuke that gives her attack up. So if this doesn't kill, this will kill. You know, like, this character is ridiculous for anti-AoE. So I think she's going to be a very, very, very solid unit for a long time. And I think that she's only going to get better the more characters release. Like, this character counters Rosaria, just as she is already, right? So I think she's slightly better than Hild because of this, but I don't think she's better than Bunny Girl, Charlotte, or Ashera, because these units right now just have so much output and can do so much for the team and themselves, right? She's like a selfish unit that is like situational, but the situations currently in the meta have so much AoE that it's warranted to use her. So I think that she's here. I think she's slightly better than Hild, but I don't think she's at the same level as Yumina. I think she's a little bit better than Yumina. Petra. So Petra's an interesting one because she's kind of a setup unit that doesn't have the speed to set up, if that makes sense. So I think this is a unit that you run on speed set with DPS stats. Can I find? Oh, I have her. That's why. I'm trying to look in the not have section, but I do have Petra. I have her at dupe too, actually. If I can find her. Am I blind? There she is. So this unit is kind of okay. She gives you defense down on her S3. Her base speed isn't the highest in the world, so she's not gonna like go super duper crazy. She's 104, which is like pretty standard. But she has 100% defense down. She gives herself speed up, and her passive at max dupe gives her 20% ult action gauge when you break an enemy. So this is where you have the this is where the niche category comes in, because if you're on a full break team, I actually think Petra is very, very good for setting up, because if there's a faster break unit that comes out in the future that like has really high base speed, she's gonna be able to really like open herself up into the meta with this 20% action gauge boost and this defense break to set up for the next unit as well, right? So I think that warrants her to be in the niche category. I don't think she's as good as Scarlet, where you could, because like Scarlet is a unit you could pick into any draft. Like decent means you can pick them into any draft. Niche means they have a gimmick that you have to make work, right? And that kind of goes for all of the break characters. Tanya is going to be the same. I don't know what demolition mode does on Tanya because it's still a bug that's in the game where they don't trust what demolition mode actually does unless you have dupes. So let me see if I can find Tanya. Or maybe I was just being stupid this whole time and you can't see what demolition mode does in here. Okay, let's give her max. So she has 100 base speed. She's slower than Petra, but she does give you... I don't know how this works, but I did see when my friend found me in RTA, she gave the whole team push-up when she broke someone, which is interesting. And it doesn't tell me what demolition mode does here. Maybe it does here? No, it doesn't. So unless... Yeah, so it doesn't tell you what demolition mode does. So I have no way of really gauging how strong she is, but I know she gives you CR push somewhere in her team, like AoE team CR push, not just this S2. So I think she is going to be like really strong, but I'm just putting her in niche for now. She might be indecent because I think she does have a little bit more universability with her breaks, but I can't say that as of right now. This is just like the launch trailer. Lily, now this is the point where we're going to have to do a little bit of theory crafting because I have never fought this unit once. I fought Serpang. Serpang is pretty okay. I've never fought a Lily. So we're just gonna have to theoretical with this unit. Do I have her? Of course not. I don't have units like this. Why would I have Lily? So she's 90 speed. She stays at 90 speed. She doesn't gain any speed from her resonance. So she's very, very slow. Let's see what she does. She does AoE attack down with a 75% chance, stays at 75. 30% increased damage if she has this buff, Mr. Rabbit's Detective Consulting, which it doesn't tell us what that is. So she just an AoE damage deal with attack down for S3. Okay, she does give herself Mr. Rabbit's Detective Consulting, which increases her crit rate. So I guess the idea is you S2 into S3, and you have 15% more crit chance and attack up into the S3 nuke that's going to do 30% more damage. And she gives herself barrier as well. Oh, she gives everybody except for herself barrier. What is this unit trying to do? And the barrier is proportional to attack. So she's kind of like a bruiser, attack bruiser, that gives herself crit. And gives herself action gauge after using her S3. I don't know. I wouldn't say I can't say this unit's decent though. We don't have a unit that enables her to S2, S3. Because the idea from what I'm reading is that you want to S2, S3, and then you have push-up after using S3 to then use S1. Or you could S3, give up the 30% damage boost that's literally included in her kit to get the S2 from the push-up like a little bit faster. I don't know. I don't think this unit's going to be fast enough to deal with Charlotte or Hild. And she's just, I'm putting her in bad. I don't think she's good. I think if we get a unit that can 100% CR push, or a unit that can enable somebody to take 2 turns off the jump, I think she'll be better, maybe even go up to decent. But I still don't think that she's going to be able to, just because of her low base speed, I don't think she's going to be able to compete with units like the meta red units. I don't think she's doing anything to the meta red units because of how slow she is. Now, Serpang is a little bit of a different situation. I do think Serpang is decent because she has skill nully. She gives you skill nullification, which is a really, 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 really good debuff. If I can find her, I don't think I have her either. So she has 95 base speed. Well, she is still really slow, but it's a situation where you're using her as more of a turn 2 player to go after everybody else, and after everybody's dished out all their damage, since you're a turn 2 player, you're really tanky, right? So when you do this S3, you get skill damage nullification, which nullifies damage from skills, does not nullify debuff damage. So you can still get debuffed and take bleed damage, but you don't take damage from skills, which is really, really good. And she heals your HP. So let's say you took a bunch of damage with your bruiser setup, she heals you, and then she gives you skill nully. And then her S2 gives attack down to somebody, and then it also gives you recovery to the lowest HP ally. So she's kind of like a healer. I think she's more of a PvP healer, which is why I put her in decent. I wouldn't use this unit in PvE really at all. Maybe outside of like tower. Tower she could be useful, but I don't see her having much value anywhere else. And she inflicts the enemy with burn, so she has like Muriel synergy, which I guess, you know what I mean? I guess she has synergy with Muriel. So that's something. I don't know why they gave her burn. She doesn't really have burn anywhere else in her kit, but I'd say she's decent just because of the skill nully and because she provides you with the necessary sustain for a turn 2 setup. So I think she's gonna be a very, very good turn 2 unit because skill nully is just a buff that's like always gonna be good in these kinds of games. I'm not gonna lie, this is a unit that I really liked. I think a Pendle is trash. She might be even worse than Lily after reading Lily's kit. I don't know what they're trying to do with this unit. So I can find a Pendle really quickly here. Here she is. So a Pendle is a dual dagger unit. She is 90 base speed, so she's just as slow as Lily. She has an extra turn mechanic though, so she gives herself immunity for 2 turns, and she gives herself a stack of chill with a 75% chance up to 100% chance if I am correct. Yeah, she gives herself 100% chill chance at level 10, which is way too much investment for this unit already. And she can do that up to 3 times, right? So she gives herself 3 chill stacks, and then she goes here and she does her S3, which doesn't really have any chill mechanic, and she gives herself speed buff up. So it's a 2-hitter. It's a 2-hitter that gives herself speed up. That's it. That's all this is. You don't get anything else. You just get damage and you get speed up. And then her S3 is that when she's on a mono blue team, maybe with like Bunny Girl Frey, every time they crit, which Bunny Girl Frey does have crit, she is going to get a stack of chill, right? And she does 10% more damage when she uses her S3, or no, sorry, is it S1? Sorry, yes, S1. And at max stacks of chill, she removes it, and then so she does 10% more damage when she does her S1, which can heal her. But outside of that, she's just a DPS with immunity buff. That's slow. Like, she's not gonna get this immunity buff up before the enemy debuffs you. So I don't really know what they were trying to do with this unit. Maybe she's just a PvE tower merchant. But she's not. I don't see the value in this unit. I think she's bad. I don't think she's doing anything to any units that actually matter. Yeah, I don't think she's doing anything reasonably well. Next, I would probably say Haiti. This unit I actually thought initially was kind of niche or decent, but I actually think she's one of the good units. I think she's a really good unit for a few reasons, right? One is that Emily's meta right now, right? And Emily has a base speed of 95, and it stays at 95. Haiti, on the other hand, has a base speed, if I can find her, kind of blind. Oh, it doesn't go up. So they have the same base speed, but Haiti is less of a bruiser and more of less of a tank and more of a bruiser. So you can build Haiti on speed set and commit to speed stats, whereas Emily's gonna want more DPS-ish HP stats, right? So what Haiti does is she gives you accuracy down and guard. And guard is Aureus. So she, off the jump, will go ahead and give the whole team Aureus, which is really ridiculous to state. If you pair her with Emily or like any other tank that has AoE defense buff, this is ridiculous amounts of sustain. Like, this is ridiculous for PvE and PvP. And then this also gives accuracy down, which makes it so that the enemy might not even hit you. And it gives you additional damage based on her defense. So you can build her super duper duper tanky, right? And it gives her a barrier, right? So, and then this is a barrier that doesn't go away. It's a 3-turn barrier with a, I think, 4-turn cooldown. 3-turn cooldown. A 3-turn barrier with a 3-turn cooldown. So this is 100% uptime. And she gets an extra turn if she's at max leap stack before doing this. So she can S2 with this into S3 in situations where you can get enough leap on her, right? And her passive as well gives her guard and barrier at the beginning of the battle. So if you, in case you thought Aureus was niche, it's like, oh, well, she has to S3 to Aureus. No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. And this is at Duke 2. right? This is a dupe 2. The only thing that changes is you're getting leap after being attacked, right? So you attack this unit 4 times. She gets max leap. She gets an extra turn with the defense barrier, with the defense up, into the defense scaling nuke of an S3 that does accuracy down and gives you more guard outside of the free 1 turn of guard that you get. Like, this unit's really, this is probably one of the best defenders. I don't think she's meta only because Hilde exists, and Hilde can just go before her and taunt her, and then she's kind of useless, right? Because then she loses her Aureus and she can't actually stack anything because she's taunted, right? So I don't think she's super duper crazy, but I do think that she is probably the best unit in good as of like our current rankings. She's ridiculous. She's ridiculous. The next unit is another meta unit, Lacey. So this is the unit with the highest base speed in the entire game. She has a base speed of 115. Ridiculous for no reason, 115 base speed. She has this debuff called Entangled Dream, which gives you a 10% attack down, which is a little bit of pseudo sustain for the team. On top of that, when you have that debuff on you and you try to attack her, she just doesn't take damage. She just heals it back up, and you give her 10% action gauge at max skill. At the beginning, she only gets 6%, right? I think she doesn't get too much if you don't dupe her at all. But this is a ridiculous debuff, and it's 100% chance at max dupe. So this is a unit that you could invest in permanently. She gives herself attack up, and it's 100% chance. So at level 10, this is doing like crazy work for you. I think it's level 8. Yeah, level 8 to get it to 100%. So this is a unit that's also good in PvE. So I see a lot of people having this unit late game, and this is a ridiculous nuke as well. This does so much damage, especially with the Nova Burst. So Lacey is just a unit with a ridiculous amount of damage and utility, because she becomes a pseudo sustain when she has this Entangled Dream on the enemy. So you said Arrowell? Yeah, Hades Arrowell, bro, legit. So I would say that Lacey is definitely a meta unit. I do think that she's slightly better than Hild, but again, Roberta just has so much utility that Roberta's kind of gatekeeping anybody else who's meta from these top 4 units, because these top 4 units don't really care about Roberta. Like, Emily sort of cares, but she could just put the barrier on herself, which kind of negates everything that Roberta would do to her. So that's why Emily's kind of unaffected. But these top 4 units don't care about what Roberta does. So that's why I would say Roberta is better than these two. Next unit is Charlotte. Charlotte is kind of a weird character. I think she's better than people give her credit for, but I also don't think that she's so insane that I would put her in a good pick. I think that she's probably a decent unit. Let me find her. I do have her. Base Charlotte. So she kind of does, she tries to do what Bunny Girl Charlotte does, but just worse. She does give crit buff. It's attack and crit buff to an ally. The attack buff is RNG unless you skill it up. But I mean, giving somebody crit buff is really good. The issue is I believe she does have low base speed, right? She only has 104. If she had like 110, I think she would probably be a great pick for a unit. But she's too slow for this to actually be something that you're going to reliably do as a setup option before you then like get an attack down enough and push herself up, right? Additionally, she does, like when she does, which one is Hontos? Her S1. When she does her S1, she gets 10% damage after using her S3, which it's kind of a niche passive. I mean, I guess it's so that she has a little bit more damage outside of the S3 rotation. But I mean, the S3 is only a 5-turn cooldown, and this being a 4-turn cooldown makes it so that this is effectively a 4-turn cooldown, right? So she works. I don't think she's bad. I think she can be great into green units that are slow. Like she could be a great pick into Haiti, for example, or Roberta. But I don't think that she's a unit that you can just staple pick anywhere, because then you're just gonna get blown up by Lug, right? And Lug is such a ridiculous unit that I don't think Charlotte's a safe enough pick to put her in a good pick unit. I would say that she's better than, I don't even know. I don't think she's better than Serpang. Serpang is like the turn 2 goat, and Charlotte is like an RNG demon that can also deal with a bunch of the green options, right? So I don't think she's better than either of these two, but I do think that she's a decent unit. She's not a unit that you should sleep on, because she can definitely ramp up damage on you if you just let her. Frey, I'm not gonna lie, if you played this game without an Ashura, you just shouldn't play PvP. I'll just be honest with you. You just shouldn't. But even if you didn't have Ashura, Serpang is a better healer on both turn 1 and turn 2 than Frey. Frey is kind of a useless character in every way because even on the base selector that you get, you can just pick Serpang and you never have to use Frey, right? Now I think that changes a little bit with her dupes, or I could be wrong. I don't remember. I think in JP her dupes were kind of impactful. Yes, yes, yes. So when you use your S3, Harmonis or all out support, it gives, HP restoration and barrier. If you have her at max dupes, she does give you a 15% CR boost, which does have some usage. However, her base speed isn't crazy. She's 95 base speed, right? So this could be like some turn 2 tech if they're trying to if you're fighting a turn 1 player who's trying to take multiple turns on you. Having a max dupe Frey could be useful because she does have a cleanse as well as, the turn boost. But at dupe 0, she's a completely useless unit. So that's the main reason why I would not necessarily say that she's bad, because she does have dupe potential. And her being a free unit, you'll most likely get her at dupe 1 if you pull her at all. So I would say that she's niche. I wouldn't say that she's bad because she's definitely going to see some more use rate than these two units right here. But I also think that she's at the bottom of niche. She's barely usable, right? Carmen, I kind of hate this unit. She's just missing a little bit. If her S1 or her passive did a little bit more, I think this would be a meta unit. But I think she is a good pick, primarily because she actually has double taunt. So the reason why Hild isn't the best unit in the game by far is because you can't choose who you taunt when Hild. It's more of a strategic thing where you just disrupt whoever's gonna go next. And that's why she's kind of mediocre because she stays at 95 base speed, and she doesn't have a selective taunt, right? For turn 2, you use her mostly as a turn 1 unit with Ashura, and you just try to taunt and disrupt the enemy, right? Carmen is a little bit different because with Carmen, you have a unit that gives you AoE defense buff with 100% taunt chance at max skill, right? Or I guess at level 8, because level 8 seems to be the thing, right? Yeah, so at level 8 you have 100% taunt, and with that 100% taunt you get AoE defense buff. So she's already doing more than Hilda's doing in terms of sustain, and she gets to choose who she taunts. And then her S2 also taunts and gives her a buff that gives her, I think, is it defense and FRES? Defense and effect hit rate, right? So this unit is kind of ridiculous because she has double taunt. Even in other PvP games, you rarely run into a unit that has double taunt. So I think she's a very, very great unit. I think she suffers from the fact that she's very, very susceptible to CC from Bell, and she's blue. So Bell just puts her in the gutter, right? And she's 95 base speed. So she's not out. You're not running this unit as somebody who's going to outspeed very, very reliably, right? You can maybe gear gap somebody or surprise them with a speed set, but I think this is a unit that you want to put on HP set and just have sit there and be absolutely obnoxious on a turn 2 setup. I don't think this is a unit that you're going to use in a cleave setup unless you're running Ashura, and they let you use Ashura, obviously. But yeah, I think she's very, very good. She also gives herself that on S1 as well, so she still has S1 usability with the Rule of Monastery. And then her passive gives her more defense with chill stacks, and with chill stacks you get that from S1, obviously. I think it's only S1 that provides chill stacks, so it's kind of niche, but she gets tankier the longer you allow her to live, essentially, which is ridiculous when she's attacked. So she's a very, very good PvP tank because of that double taunt. It's really ridiculous, and she's just really, really tanky. She's just susceptible to Bell. That's really the main thing. If there's a reliable answer to shut down Bell every time, I think this unit easily does go into top tier, unfortunately. Oh yeah, Shade's saying she's top tier. That's his bias, but yeah, I think she's slightly worse than Haiti because Haiti is a unit that can shut her down, as well as Bell is a unit that can shut her down, right? And even Yumina in some instances can shut her down. I'd say she's worse than Yumina, just because of the type disadvantage and the usability. I think you can definitely slot her into every single match. I've seen people do it. It just doesn't work because she's too slow, and by the time she takes a turn, everybody's already done what they're supposed to do, and the units that you want to taunt are most likely going to end up killing her, right? Now I don't know why they put Vera in here. This unit just sucks. She's worse than Frey. Why is Vera in here? Don't know why they put Vera in here, but it's okay. I don't think there's any missing units, are there? I don't think so. Anyways, Bunny Girl Frey. This is actually an interesting one because as you can see, there are a bunch of units that are blue that are in meta, right? So you could theoretically run a turn 2 setup with Bunny Girl Frey, Bunny Girl Claire, and both of the best tanks in the game that are blue, and you have a ridiculous blue setup. The only thing that makes Bunny Girl Frey a little bit niche is essentially, let me see if I can find her. She's mono blue. You really only want to run her in a blue setup. You can run her outside of blue, which is why I think she's still going to be a good pick. I think that if there are more meta blue units that come out, I think this unit will move up to top tier. But I don't think she's meta at the moment. Like she gives AoE crit buff, which is a really, really, really good debuff, and she gives herself chill stacks, which she can then use to give herself action gauge and give herself the high roller, which is 1% increased damage, which actually helps out with her S3. Because I think with the S, is it the S2 or the S2? There's something that high roller does. So she gets high roller as well with blue allies specifically, except for herself. So this high roller thing is just, I think, 5% extra damage. But I think it does something though. There's something else it does that I'm not seeing here. There it is. Yeah, there it is. So this is it. So with her S1, she'll hit you and use forced negotiation, which is wait, what is forced negotiation? Oh, it tells you right here. She does like a S1 into like an S2 type of deal, where she does another increased 100% damage. So even after you use your S2 an extra turn into S3, this S1 is still like a ridiculous damage deal. It's just that there aren't enough blue units in the meta right now that can enable her enough to do this reliably, because she would have to take 3 turns where she's effectively not really doing too much, and then she has to get this off like consistently, right? And she's not a tanky unit either, or a fast unit, right? She's a 90 base speed unit. So I think if they release a blue unit that isn't susceptible to Bell or Haiti, I think she moves up to top tier. But as of right now, I think she's a good pick, a low good pick unit. Decent. You can run her into anything. I think you can still run her into anything. It's just you kind of need blue units with her, or she kind of loses like half of her kit, you know. The next unit, Dana. This unit actually surprised me. She does way too much damage. She's just like Yumina, except she just doesn't have bleed. Instead, she has speed down. So this S3, and she looks like a healer. I'm tripping, right? Like this is like a unit that should be a healer, but instead she's just a ridiculous nuke of a DPS. So she just does this big damage nuke with a 75% chance to defense down, I believe. You have 75% chance to speed down, and then she has this, which grants attack up to the ally with the highest attack. So she has a little bit of utility, and this is also a nuke. Like this does damage. So she'll S3 you, hit you with a nuke S2, and then her passive gives her speed up, and with 100% chance when she crits with Rapid Bloom, which is that S2. So she'll get speed up and attack up. Well, no, she doesn't give herself attack up, but she gets speed up to then, you know, maybe do a little bit more with the S1. So I think she actually is a really good pick unit because of the cleave meta right now. If you don't have Yumina, or if you don't want to build Yumina, she is definitely a perfectly decent alternative. And I think for that reason, she is above Bunny Girl Claire, because she does have AoE and she does pair really well with Luna. But outside of that, I think she is also hindered by the fact that she's below base speed, 90 base speed. So she suffers a little bit worse than Yumina. That's why Yumina is a little bit better than her, because Yumina, I believe, is 100 base speed. And she stays at 100. So it's a lot easier for her to get her nuke up than it will be for Dana. Like that 10 speed is a big difference, and it matters a lot. So that's why she's a little bit worse, but she does effectively the same thing as Yumina. You could argue even a little bit more utility because of the attack up, right? But Yumina has higher damage output, like 100% with the S2 into the S1 having crit buff. I think Yumina definitely does like edge her out, but she's very good as an alternative if you don't want to use Yumina, or if you happen to get more dupes of her than you do of Yumina. Kyra is an interesting unit. I skimmed over her kit briefly. I do have a dupe, like 2 dupes in her, I think, right now. So what she does with her dupes is that she just has more damage when she's in stealth. Her S3 puts her into stealth and gives attack down. Now, this unit, I think, would have been a good pick unit and maybe even a decent unit if she was fast. This unit has 90 base speed. She's ridiculously slow. So I don't get when you're ever gonna do this. Like blue units like Luke are just gonna blow this unit up and remove her S3, which effectively removes the unit because everything that she does is based on her having stealth. And if she doesn't have stealth, she's not really a unit, and her damage output isn't. It's not ridiculous, you know. Like she has 14 crit rate and 62 crit damage. Like actually, the crit damage is kind of high, so maybe you run her as a full crit build. But even then, like she's too slow to do anything unless you're using Syra as an enabler. So I think she's kind of niche, but I think you can argue her being indecent because we do have two push-up options right now in the form of Sayra and Ashera. And if you get Ashera first pick, you could run Kyra to counter Bell with the attack up. I think she does have the potential to one-shot Bell or one-shot Roberta, for example, or just a lot of the units that are in good and meta, and stealth herself so that she does have a little bit of sustain in that way. And then she cycles herself with the S2 with the old gauge boost that she gets, and she has a lot of ramping damage percent bonuses to the point where I think she's gonna be like a really good nuker. But I think she's too slow at the moment to really be able to do anything. Like yeah, you have Ashera, you have Carmen, you have Emily, you have Serpang. There's a couple of units that could help her survive, but I just don't think she's good enough to where you would pick her every single time, because this unit exists and she'll just blow you up. Sayra is a unit that I actually think is in good right now. I don't know why they didn't make this unit a 110 base speed unit. Sayra is actually only 107, which is faster than the vast majority of the cast, but she still gets outsped by Lacey, and she still gets outsped by Rosaria and Belle. And getting outsped by Belle effectively makes her trash because Belle can just outspeed her and destroy her whole kit. You know what I mean? Like Sayra should have been a faster unit, 100%. She should have 100% been a way faster unit, primarily because if she was faster, she would have more utility. Essentially what she does is she has an S2. Her S2 gives 20. Am I tripping? Hold on. 35? Is it 35 or 25? I'm tripping. Hold on. I think it's 35% CR boost. Okay, there we go. 2, 4, 6, 9, 12, 15, so 25% CR boost to anybody that she chooses with an attack up into an S3 that gives herself Light of the Phantasm, which is attack and speed 15% up, and she gives you speed down. So she will help the unit that she brings up nuke, which I think she could have made a lot of units a lot better if she was faster than Belle. If she was faster than Belle, she might have even been a meta unit. But as she stands right now, I think she's a very, very good pick. I think you can slot her anywhere, but I just think that she's not fast enough to do things reliably, you know? And she does more damage if the enemy's higher HP, which I mean, you know, has really good synergy because you want it to go first. So I think you just run her on speed set with DPS stats, and she does what you need her to do. But she's just not fast enough to deal with this unit. So that unit can just shut her down. So for that reason, I think she's probably the best unit in good picks. I think she's better than Heidi, better than Yumina. I think she's better than everybody in here. But because Belle exists, she's not a meta unit, basically. And Belle is never really a unit that you're gonna ban if you don't pre-ban her. She's never a unit that you're gonna post-ban, because there's gonna be bigger threats like Emily or Hild or Lacey that you're gonna need to ban, or even Roberta in some instances, right? So, or Ashera, you know, obviously Ashera. Next unit is Lug. This is by far, I would say, the best blue unit in the game. A lot of people are going to disagree, but I actually think she is a meta unit. I think she does have a really reliable base speed. Let me double check here. Her base speed is 104. 104 is very, very good for a DPS of her nature. She has an S3 that's single target that has 2 break, which is going to pretty much instantly break any red unit. It's going to give you defense down, and it's going to 100%, even at skill 1. Even at skill 1, it's going to 100% increase the enemy ult skill cooldown. This shuts down so much of the cast because of how slow the vast majority of units are that are red. Like, I think she even counters Bunny Girl Charlotte, correct me if I'm wrong. I think Bunny Girl Charlotte's a relatively slow unit at 90 speed. So you just go before Bunny Girl Charlotte, you defense down her, somebody else goes right after, and she's dead, you know? She sets up and she provides you the utility with the defense down, as well as the all gauge increase, right? The ultimate increase for somebody to not be able to S3 off the jump. Additionally, she also has this S2 freeze, which is kind of like a pseudo bleed. It's not as good as bleed because it doesn't go through barriers, but it does decrease speed. So it's kind of like frostbite, like a DOT frostbite from Epic 7. And it gives her speed up as well so that she can then do more damage with her S1. And she also does freeze with her S1 as well at 100% chance with max dupe. So this is a unit that makes a lot of units a lot worse than they should be, simply because she has good speed and a really, really good S3. Like, her S3 destroys units. Like, you S3 this unit on Ashura, you build her on speed set, and if you outspeed an Ashura, Ashura is useless. You don't even need to do damage, right? So I think she's a very, very, very good unit. I think a lot of people will see a lot of benefit in building her for PvP. I think she is meta. I think she's the best blue unit in the game, strictly because she shuts down so many options. She shuts down Roberta. She shuts down Hild. She shuts down not Belle. She shuts down Ashura. She shuts down Yumina. Like, even units that don't have typing advantage, she still shuts them down because she's just faster, right? So Lug is gonna be a really, really, really solid pick in my opinion. Next up was gonna be, let's see, Muriel. So this is a unit that's more useful in PvE, but she does have something very interesting that I think makes her viable in the future of PvP as more units come out. I think she's decent right now, just because she has, is it still 90? She's 90 base speed, so she's not as fast as I thought she was. But she does have AoE attack down and burn. And burn is another DOT debuff that ticks. Now where the real utility of this unit comes in is in her S2. Her S2 extends all of the enemy debuffs by 100% chance. And she does more damage for each debuff. So this is a nuke of an S2 that is also going to extend debuffs. So when we get to the point where units are actually doing CC, like stun and the actual freeze, like petrify and stuff like that, she's going to be able to extend the stun. So I think this unit has a lot of future-proof usability. And then she also gives red units, she has synergy with red units because of the ignition stack that she gets after a red unit attacks. So she can ramp up her damage a lot, and she has crit damage built into her kit, so she's going to do a lot of damage even though she's slow. So I think she's a unit that's going to be indecent. I don't think she's going to be a unit that you pick every time, but if somebody picks an all green team against you and you have her and maybe like Lacey, you can extend Lacey's sustainability with her Entangled Dream by using that S2 maybe instead of S3, and then nuking down a potential threat, right? Because you're going to have that 3% damage boost, and you're going to have the 25% crit damage from her passive. I don't think she's better than Serpang, because Serpang, again, this is just like the GOAT of turn 2. The skill nully, the heals, the attack down, it's too much utility to pass up. So I don't think she's better than Serpang, but I do think she's better than Charlotte because of the debuff extension as well as the AoE attack down, right? So I think that she's going to have a lot more usability there, and the burn as well, because sometimes you have that little bit of damage that makes it so that you're not going to kill when you should, right? Next, I'm going to say Elisa. So Elisa is an interesting unit because she's slow, right? And Elisa, with the kind of kit that she has, I expect it to be a unit that's fast. She has 98 base speed, which is faster than pretty much all of the slow units, but not faster than any moderate speed units, right? She has a passive that increases her recovery by 25% when she's at high HP. When she's using, is it S2? Yeah, S2. S2 gives you Holy Blessing. Holy Blessing is damage reduction. 20% damage reduction, 25% damage reduction, 25% FRES. This is an ability you're going to use on a unit that's low. It's going to heal a ridiculous amount because of the recovery boost. And when she has max agitation stacks, she's going to be able to get an extra turn when she does her S1. So if you let her, she can S1 with her sword burn, and she can like be on a sustained turn 2 team, and she can sustain to the point where she's getting S1 into S3. So if you let this unit like just sit there and survive, she's gonna do a lot because her S3 is a revive. It revives a dead ally with 50% HP with a 5-turn cooldown, effectively 4-turn cooldown with this extra turn that you're gonna get from this passive right here. The only thing is that she's not a unit at 0 dupes. You can't use this unit as 0 dupes. But at well, you can use her. She's just a lot worse. But effectively a 4-turn cooldown because of the extra turn that you're gonna get from the 5 turns. And then she's gonna restore their HP, give them Holy Blessing, which is that 25% damage reduction, boost their ult gauge by 80%. This is really good because she's a turn 2 unit, right? You're not using her in a cleave setup. You're gonna use her after somebody dies because they're obviously going to attack either her, which is gonna take aggro away from the unit that you want to do damage in turn 2, or they're gonna kill the unit. And by the time they've already killed the unit, they're at the back of the turn gauge, right? So when she revives the unit's going to immediately take the turn because they're going to be at 80% gauge, and speed is just going to be speed, and they're going to go straight up to 100, right? And they're going to have 25% damage reduction, right? And if the enemy isn't dead, she still gives you 40% action gauge boost, which I believe is the highest amount of action gauge boost that you can receive in the entire game. So let's say you build her on speed set, and she goes maybe after your Serpang or before your Serpang. You can use her to either boost up the unit that you want to go up next, or you could just S2, give damage reduction to your bruiser or whoever you're using as your main carry. And then she is going to always have that in the back pocket, right? And she gives herself 2 agitation stacks, right? Which I told you is that like elemental debuff, right? Elemental buff, where if she gets 2 agitation stacks, she only needs 3 more S1s to be able to she only needs 3 more S1s to be able to get an extra turn automatically through her passive, which like it doesn't have anything to do with dupes or like max dupe. It's just if you have this, you're going to be able to do this, right? If you have 1 dupe, you're going to be able to do the extra turn. So after she does S3, she only needs to take 3 more turns, which is why I said this is effectively a 4-turn cooldown, right? So she's very good because that 25% damage reduction is very, very, very impactful. It matters a lot, especially when you're going to be dealing with bruiser units. I think this is a unit that's going to have a lot of longevity as well because Holy Blessing, she has Holy Blessing on all of her skills. So this is going to be effectively 100% uptime, and you can put this on multiple units. So let's say, the cleaver goes, your bruiser's at 1 HP, she heals them with this, which is going to be a boosted heal because of her passive. And then she's going to give them Holy Blessing, right? On top of that, your S1 has a Soul Burn that can do 1 more toughness damage and gives Holy Blessing to the IS with the lowest HP for 1 turn. So I think Holy Blessing is a debuff that can stack. Like it doesn't say that it can't stack. So this could be effectively 50% damage reduction, or you could spread that damage reduction to somebody else possibly, right? So you could S2, if she's able to take another turn with the S1, you have 50% damage reduction on your tank. Right? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So I think she's probably the best sustainer right now. I don't think she's so good that I would say you could slot her in anywhere. I'd say she's a really good turn 2 unit. But she's a good pick to where you can pick her in every single scenario as a turn 2 player or as a turn 1 player because of that 40% CR boost. That CR boost is the biggest percentage CR boost that's in the game right now. So I think Elise is going to be very, very, very strong, because you can build her with full F-res and speed, and she's just not going to get debuffed. On top of not getting debuffed, she's just going to be sit there as a threat that isn't a DPS, because she can bring your carry back, and she can apply up to 50% damage reduction, right? Theoretically. I don't know if it stacks. If it doesn't stack, it's still a really good 25% onto 2 allies, right? Which is really still really decent. Omega, I don't care if this unit's good. I'm probably going to put her in bad, but I think she's actually probably niche. I think if you play this unit, you probably have a screw loose, but that's besides the point. She does have 96 base speed, which is slightly faster than most units that are slow. Her unique passive gives her a stack of leap with 100% chance when a green ally attacks. So she's gonna get leap and benefit from being on a mono green team. She removes all the leap stacks and she gives herself a power-up star. And if leap is at max stacks, she at the start of turn, they aren't removed if she has the maximum amount of power-up stacks. Essentially, what this means is that if she's at full power-up star and 5 leap, I'm assuming like an ally is able to go 4 times before her, she's gonna be at max leap stacks. And then power-up star is what this S2 is. If you have 3 stacks of power-up star, you do this AoE S2 that triggers 3 times. Which, it's really stupid, because in really, really, really niche situations where you're able to get a mono green team through without a red counter, or if there's like a really good green unit that comes out in the future, she's just gonna nuke your team. Because you just build her as a DPS, she's gonna AoE S3 3 times? Like, this is stupid, right? She's gonna S3, S2, into S2, into S2, into S2. It's 4 instances of this attack at max stacks, right? And you just build her really, really slow and super high damage, and she's just gonna go crazy, right? And then she has this S3 as well that gives her attack up in 3 stacks of leap. So if you want to build her like sorta fast, you could have the S3, have 2 green units to go after her, and then you could maybe even have like Elisa to push her up or revive her, and then she just does this stupid nuke. So I think she's a decent turn 2 unit or turn 1. It's just that she needs green units, which there are enough green units in the meta, especially paired with Belle. Something like Belle is going to be ridiculous with her. So I think she's decent. I think she would have otherwise been a niche character without Belle, but I think with Belle, she's pretty ridiculous and annoying. I would say she's probably better than most of these characters. I'd probably put her there. I'd say she's still not better than Serpeng. Again, the goat of turn 2. Let's see. Next up, we have Trish. Trish is interesting because a lot of people said Trish was just trash. Like, people tried to use Trish, and you essentially use her. You're supposed to use her against turn 2 because she's too slow to be used against turn 1. She's 90 base speed, so she's kind of too slow to be used against turn 1. But she has the highest crit damage in the game, like base crit damage of 75% in the game. So if you just build her as a full DPS, this S3 is gonna nuke and it resets on cooldown. So theoretically, you could use something like Sarah, push her up, S3 with 100% crit chance. She kills somebody. Elisa pushes her back up. Now she has 2 S3s, assuming that she kills the first unit, right? Uses to kill a squishy, and then another S3 comes out, and another S3 comes out, and then you kill another unit, or you get another unit reliably low. And then she still has this, which gives herself crit rate up. So you could argue giving her 70% crit. I don't think it's worth it, because like you could allegedly S2 with Sarah, push her up, she gets crit buff, and then you go up with Elisa. But like that's too niche of a turn 1 setup, unless you have Ashura on the team. Like this is just a really niche situation where she would work. If you do have dupes in her, she becomes a little bit better, because you get 30% CR boost when you kill someone. So in the instance that I mentioned, right, let's say you're able to get Ashura, Sarah, and Elisa all on one draft with Trish. I think Trish is a very, very, very strong unit to be able to like do stuff to the enemy. Shade said her S2 Loki needs to be an extra turn. I agree. If this S2 was an extra turn, I think she's instantly a good pick unit, possibly even meta. Because if this S2 is an extra turn, she can just kill Emily. This is the Emily counter if she has an extra turn on this. The issue, however, is if you S3, you kind of need multiple pushers. Because you need a pusher to push her up, because she's 90 base speed. She's not taking the first turn. She's not going before any of the meta units. So you need her to be on full damage, because she's not killing anybody unless she's on full damage. So you're not running her on speed set. And you need somebody to push her up. Like, you need Sarah with her, and you need Elisa with her, and you need Ashura with her. So you have to get a draft where you get all 3 of those units in with Trish. So the way it would work is you're able to get those 3 units up, which is already highly unlikely, right? Those are all pre-ban or post-ban units. You would also need another unit that's just as a big of a threat as her, that you wouldn't just ban Trish and win the game anyways, right? So I think for that reason, I don't think she's trash. I think a lot of people give her a lot more slack than she deserves. I think she's actually better than all of the break units, but there just aren't enough pushers, like CR pushers in the game yet, for her to go up to decent where you could run her in almost any draft, right? Um, but she could be really good on both turn one and turn two because of Elisa. Elisa is such a good unit with that 40% CR boost that you could use her. Like she's usable. She's not useless, right? And I think this is going to be the last meta unit. I think Luna is very, very meta because she is the AoE enabler and she's light. She doesn't have any weaknesses. She has oh, it says at 93, so she's on the slower side, but you run her in a cleave setup, so it kind of doesn't matter. You run her with Sarah or you run her with Ashura, and she does her S3 with this Nova Burst, which you should be able to get Nova Burst. There's an Arcana skill that makes it so that you get 4 Nova Burst at the start of turn. When you run this on her, she's going to instantly be able to get 100% bind. So you don't really even need to skill this up past 6. You don't need to skill this up past 6. You use her primarily for the bind, right? Obviously you want her on DPS stats, but you use her primarily for the bind, and this bind enables setups with one of the most strongest units in the game, right? Any AoE character, bro, bind is an AoE debuff. I think it's 15%. Let me double check. Bind is 20% damage from AoE attacks. So that makes all your units so much stronger. That makes Yumina stronger. That makes Emily stronger. It makes Lacey stronger. It makes Hilde stronger. It makes Bunny Girl Frey stronger. It makes Scarlet stronger. It makes even Omega. It makes Omega stronger. Like it makes so much of the units in this game stronger. And there's obviously going to be more and more AoE units as the game comes out. It makes Rosaria stronger. Like Rosaria isn't even in the game yet. So I think Luna is a meta unit because she has bind and she's the only unit with bind right now. And she gets increased crit damage. So this is like going to be an actual nuke of an ability. It's not like her only utility is the bind. This is also just a high damage skill that's going to enable a lot of your cleavers to close out the draft, right? She does need pushers because she's so slow, but I don't think that that's going to necessarily be an issue because even if you're not running her in turn 1, you have Elisa. So let's say they pre-ban Ashura. Well, then you first pick Sarah, you second pick Elisa, and Luna's now open, right? If you don't have Sarah or Elisa, Luna's kind of trash. Assuming everybody's at the same gear level, she's kind of trash because she doesn't do enough with just her base kit for it to just be a standalone pick. But there are enough pushers in the game that warrant being able to pick her every single time, which is why I think that she's meta instead of just being in good. And then she also has units like Belle that can help her enable as well by like silencing units that would kill her. Units like Bunny Girl Charlotte, units like Roberta, these kind of units that could like really shut her down instantly. Smile. This might be the worst unit in the game, guys. I really don't know what they were cooking with this unit. She's 100 base speed for no reason. She has defense break single target. She's a break unit, by the way, so she does do 2 break instances. So she's good against blue units, but she doesn't outspeed enough for the blue units on her own. I guess she is on like the break team, but she does this weird S1 into S2. So after you do this coordinates confirmed thing, she does an AoE burn, and then once per turn, it doesn't trigger if the enemy is defeated by it. So if you kill somebody with S1, she doesn't do S2. Why? Why? If you kill with this, does this not proc? That just makes her a worse unit for no reason, right? So I'm confused on what they're trying to do with her. Maybe she's supposed to be a burn enabler for future units that are gonna like nuke with burn or something, but she's niche because she's on the break team, and the break team kind of works all together. So I don't think she's completely trash. But I think if break wasn't like its own like archetype of if break wasn't its own archetype of a playstyle, I think this would be the worst unit in the game. I don't know what she does. I don't know what she's supposed to do. So I'm gonna put her at the bottom of niche. I think Frey has a lot more usability. Actually, Frey is at the top of niche. She has CR boost, so she's actually decent on turn 2. It's just that she's niche because you need dupes in her. So you need dupes and you need to invest in her, which every unit above her is stronger. Like you have no reason to invest in Frey, but you can if you like her. Like she can work. Let's see. Ashura, base Ashura. So this unit is actually not bad, surprisingly. She, in comparison to all the other DPS at her level, she is 100 base speed with decent crit damage, right? And she gives herself crit rate with her S2 and with her S3 as well. So she gives herself up to 60% crit rate with her S3, meaning that you can effectively run 0 crit on her and go full crit damage. And on top of that, obviously with the Nova Burst, right? She gives herself 60% crit rate. She gives herself speed up with this S2. So this S3 will be kind of the enabling portion. You can run her like kind of fast, maybe on speed set or crit damage set, depending on whether you want her to nuke or not. And then she can just nuke with the S2 because you're going to have full crit damage build or full speed build with 60% crit. She's going to guarantee crit and she's going to have speed up for her S1. And then I think this just gives her more damage as well. Yeah, when she does Veil Cleave, which is her S2, which is, you know, from what we're reading, it's supposed to be her cash out. You're going to get more damage on that cash out, right? And it stacks up to 5 times. So I think she's intended to be more of a turn 2 unit because she has scaling with her unique passive, but she can definitely be ran alongside Luna as a turn 1 unit because she has double AoE. So her paired with Luna, if you can get 2 turns with her and Luna, the enemy team's not surviving. Like the enemy team is just not surviving if you run Ashura and Luna, and both Ashura and Luna get 2 turns each. So I don't think she's a good unit. I think she's decent, but I do think that she is better than a lot of the other units in decent because she has a lot of AoE versatility and she has a good typing. Belle isn't going to prioritize her over a unit like Emily or Luna. So she's going to be able to S3 more oftentimes than not. She's not a high priority unit in terms of stopping. So she's going to be able to dish out a lot of damage very easily. Additionally, I think she does have some synergy with Bunny Go Frey because she's blue. So you could run her on turn 2 with Bunny Go Frey and Emily and like Elisa, for example. And that's like a really solid comp because you can protect her with Emily or protect Bunny Go Frey, and then she's just free damage and free stacks for Bunny Go Frey. So that's definitely something to consider. And that 60% crit rate that you get for free is no joke, right? So Asher is actually a lot better than people give credit for. I think a lot of people think that she's bad because there's better options in the form of Mina or Hild or any of the other AoE options, even Bunny Go Frey. But she definitely has her use cases. She could be used in PvP 100%. Lydia, I at first didn't really understand what this unit was supposed to do. I think she's going to end up being a PvE merchant because she gets FRS down. And FRS down is pretty notorious with being good for PvE, but she has really decent base speed. She has 107 base speed. So what that makes me think is that you could use her as a unit that goes first and does a little bit of damage before like Lug. That way Lug can kill a unit. Because she does give herself CR if the enemy has a debuff before she attacks. So she could follow up right after Belle, and her plus Belle could potentially kill a unit. And when she soul burns as well, she gives you Unknown Hex, which is that FRS down that I mentioned and speed down. So you're effectively going to be at minus 30% speed, right? You're going to be minus 30% speed with 3 break. So she breaks pretty much every unit. This unit's actually not bad. She has guaranteed break pretty much on her turn if she uses the Nova Burst. And then she's also going to give you 30% speed down. So if you put that onto like the 4th unit on a team and you're able to disable the push-up with Belle, she has some use, I guess. But I think she's niche because this is AoE speed down, right? AoE speed down does probably decent damage. And then her passive makes it so that you do more damage with Unknown Hex after using Touch of the Void, which I think is her S1. Yeah. So with her S1, you do more damage if the enemy has this Hex. So obviously you're going to put the Hex on with the S2 and the S3, and then it stacks up to 5 times. So she has some usage as a carry, I suppose. A debuffer carry with like Muriel, for example. You run Muriel and her on a turn 2 team, and she has some level of usability. So I think that puts her in decent. Just because her base speed is so high, I think she's going to be able to take a lot of turns with the action gauge boost that she does get from her S3. I just don't see. Maybe this is just an error of judgment on my part, but I don't I don't see how she's doing too much for the team. I think she can be a carry on turn 2, but I also think that there are better options. Like even Kyra, I think is better for turn 2 because Kyra has sustain in the form of stealth. Like what's stopping someone from just nuking her down? She doesn't have any sustain, you know? So like if she had AoE attack down or something, I think she would be probably a good unit, like that you could slot in anywhere. But as of right now, with just FRES down and with the units that are in the game that don't really need help landing debuffs, I don't think she's that good. I don't think she's that crazy. But I think that she is better than all of the niche units. I think you could slot her in pretty reliably as a turn 2 player or as a turn player with Bell because of how fast she is. But outside of that, I don't really see the vision with Lydia. And then lastly, Harley. This unit confused me a little bit because she's a speed scaler with 99 speed. Why did they do that? So she does damage proportional to her speed. So she's obviously a unit you're gonna build on speed set. She's gonna be a speed tank, so she's gonna go before pretty much every other tank on turn 2. I think she's a turn 2 unit, even though you run her on speed set because of how slow she is. So she's gonna give you AoE defense buff. She's gonna give speed buff up to herself, I think. Speed buff for 1 turn if the HP is 50% or above, which it is gonna be because she's gonna be first. And she gives herself Berserk mode, which is a 30% speed increase. So she's kind of like a ramping speed unit. Like she has low base speed, but after she does her S3, she's going to be pretty fast. And I think that's kind of the idea of the unit, is to get her to S3, get that AoE defense buff up for the team before anybody can do anything to you. And then you get Berserk mode, which gives you 30% speed. Plus, you know, you being on speed set, you're going to outspeed most units if you can get a second turn, which is why I think she's a turn 2 unit. She also does have an AoE S3 off the jump, which is of high value because you get immediately Nova Burst, and that's 2 break on everybody, or 1 break on blue units, which is still going to be really high value. And then she has this, which is like another speed up. So she has 100% uptime on her speed buff, and then it gives her ignition stacks to the highest sun attribute ally. That's where a unit like Muriel or Bunny Girl Charlotte comes in, where she gives utility to Bunny Girl Charlotte before Bunny Girl Charlotte can take a turn. But it's kind of niche because you're not really running Bunny Girl Charlotte on a turn 2 setup. You can, because she's just that good, obviously. But, I mean, I guess she's good. I don't think she's terrible. Because you know what highest attack is going to be Bunny Girl Charlotte. Like this ignition stacks is for Bunny Girl Charlotte, right? And it also reduces the enemy action gauge by 25. Okay, I take it back. This unit's good. This unit is good. So you S3, by the time you take your second turn, you give 3 stacks to Bunny Girl Charlotte. Bunny Girl Charlotte's probably going to have 2 stacks from just doing S2 into S1. Bunny Girl Charlotte's going to have her S3 reset after she gets these stacks from her. And this doesn't have anything to do with her skills. So this could be at turn 1. Or level 1 base effect. She doesn't need any investment into this because all this affects is cooldowns. And if you're going to be using this unit with a unit like Bunny Girl Charlotte, it's going to be very, very easy to get this up. And she's going to be able to push units back too on turn 2, which is why I think she's going to be a solid turn 2 unit. Increase self speed by 3% with 100% chance after ally is attacked. Up to 5 times. 15% speed buff. Plus the 30% that she's going to get from her S3, 45% speed buff. This unit's actually pretty decent. I think she's a good pick. I think you could slot this unit into any team because she kind of does work on turn 1 where as long as you're using a red unit like Bunny Girl Charlotte, Base Charlotte, Muriel, she's going to be able to give just general utility to the team on top of being able to make Bunny Girl Charlotte that much more enabled. So I think she's actually probably better than everybody, I'd say, but Yumina. Maybe even better than Yumina. I don't think she's better than Haiti. But I'd say that she's pretty good because of the enabling that she provides to Bunny Girl Charlotte. And I think that this is probably going to be the definitive tier list. So yeah, Emily is the best PvP unit in the game. She just does too much. Belle right behind Emily because not only does she crit, actually, Belle is better than Emily. Belle is the second fastest unit in the game, does not get stopped by the fastest unit in the game, and silences whoever, which stops every single kid in the game because nobody has immunity. There's no immunity set, and you can't just have immunity off the jump. So Belle is going to go before every single unit. She gets 50% CR boost when anybody dies, which she's very good at enabling single target setups to kill a unit for her to then get a second turn. Yeah, I think she's better than Emily because she could just you just play her into Emily and Emily can't do anything. She can't S2, she can't S3, she can S1 with barrier, but she's silenced, and this is gonna do a good amount of damage as well and remove all her buffs. So even if you did have immunity, it's not even gonna matter because she's just gonna remove your buffs. Like she's kind of crazy. I think Belle. I think that's fair. I think Belle is better than Emily. Emily's better than Ashera. Ashera is better than Bunny Girl Charlotte. Bunny Girl Charlotte better than the rest of meta. Is there anybody else I would change? I don't think so. I think Hilde is better than Lug. I think Lacey's better than everybody else there. I think Roberta is better than Lacey and everybody else there. Yeah. Good units. I think Sarah is definitively the best unit in good units. I think she's just a little bit away. If she had more speed, she'd be a meta unit. Like definitively, she might be even better than Belle if she was like 115 base speed. Harley might be better than Haiti. Haiti provides Aureus, but Harley, she's a speed nuker that gives herself 45% speed buff. I guess we'll have to see the damage numbers. I think Haiti's still better. Aureus is broken. Having Aureus off the jump at dupe 1 is too broken. Paired with any other tank. Like you play her with Harley, like literally any other tank that you see on the tier list at all can be played with Haiti and it's effective. It's effectively a great team because you're gonna have so much sustain as a turn 2 player. Because every single other tank on this tier list provides some type of defense buff besides Hild. But Hild is a special scenario because she's more of a disruption unit and a counter to green units. But besides Hild, every other tank gives you AoE defense buff. So Aureus plus defense buff AoE, you're not dying as a turn 2 player. You play Haiti plus Elisa plus another tank plus your carry, you pretty much won the game already, no? Yumina I do think is better than Carmen because she has bleed, which goes through barriers, and her damage output is probably the highest out of any AoE DPS character. And she has single target viability as well, so you're not stuck to AoE in case Roberta's there, right? A lot of the other AoE options are stuck doing AoE because they're AoE characters, right? She has the ability to just go for her S2 that also does bleed and gets her crit rate, which makes her S1 100% crit rate if you build her properly, which can then proc her chain with her Arcana skill. So I think Yumina is probably better than Dana and everybody else. But Carmen is definitely like the gatekeeper of good units and keeping a lot of units that are decent from being in good tier because of that double taunt. That double taunt is too ridiculous. Bunny Girl Frey I think is better than Bunny Girl Claire. And I think also better than Dana. I think Bunny Girl Claire is the worst unit in good units. I just think she does so much damage that it kind of doesn't matter. Let me double check her kit one more time. Because when I checked this, we were still using Taichara, which isn't the best reference of all time. Oh, I remember one thing about Bunny Girl Claire that makes her better. When you have max chill stacks and you use faster than sight, you proc your S2. So she can S1 into S2. So she S3s. Her S3 gives her Jackpot Bloom, which gives her crit rate, 20% crit rate. She gets 20% crit rate from this. And this gives her 15% crit rate at max dupe, so she's a 50 crit rate unit. And then you get Jackpot Bloom. It does more damage depending on the amount of buffs that you have. She's not a super duper fast unit, so you're going to be able to have your enemies like put their buffs up before she goes, but she's still fast enough to the point where she can go before like Bunny Girl Charlotte and just kill Bunny Girl Charlotte. I think that's why she's so good. And you can build her with high crit damage because you don't need crit rate, right? And you have S1 into S2 as well at max chill stacks, which she gives herself 3 on crit, which she's gonna crit, right? So I think she's better than Frey. I changed my mind. I do think she's better than Frey because she's a lot less niche than Frey, but Frey is so good with literally any other blue unit that she's in good units. Dana definitely an AoE nuker. I think Dana's probably better than Frey. You can use her a little bit more. I'd say Frey, Dana and Yumina do the same thing. Yumina just does a little bit better because she has bleed instead of speed down. So I think these two units are pretty close. And then I think this is how I want this to be. Decent. Do I want to change anything about decent? I think Serpanga is the best unit in decent. And then probably Omega actually as a turn 2. Scarlet after, Ashura after. No, I think Charlotte's better than Ashura. Muriel probably also better than Ashura. I think Ashura's better than these two though. Top of niche. I think this is good for niche. Yeah, I think this is good for niche. And then these two units are just kind of useless. I don't know why Vera's on the team, bro. This isn't a good tier list though, because it's missing some actually pretty decent SR units that I think could be used. Let me see if I can load up some of these SR units. Just a second, chat. Just a second. All right, relax. Are you saying all right, relax to me putting Belle in top tier above Emily? You have an argument for it, Shade? I think Belle is stronger than Emily for PvP. Let me see. I'm going to try and get more templates in here. Just a second, chat. Let me work my magic. Save image. I technically don't even need to save the image, do I? Yeah, whatever. Let's see. Can I load anything? Does it let you load stuff? Preset presentation mode. There we go. Chosen files. It's gonna be in screenshots at the bottom. Marcial. Okay, so let's. Oh, I can't put her out. We'll just leave them in bad for now, but I think Marcial is a good unit. I'll explain why in a second. Let me get the others as well. Clarissa, Claire, and Scarlet, and Naru. This is actually probably going to be an on the spot because I haven't. Who reads SR characters, bro? In this game, you don't read SR characters. So let me get these units up. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, chill out. Okay, go to the bottom here. We did Marcial, so I think everybody but Marcial should be. Is it shift to choose multiple? Okay, we'll just do this and open Naru last. It's not a big deal. So, where's Marcial? Oh my gosh, I think it didn't save Marcial. Hold on. There we go. So, let's start with Marcial. I think this I fought this unit on JP and they actually cooked me. Maybe it was gear diff, but Marcial is, I think she is slower. Yeah, 94, which is faster than you'd expect for a 4-star, and she does have lower stats, but she gets this attack up and this recovery down, and I think she's the only unit in the game with recovery down, which is going to be very, very good with dealing with Elise, for example, because most Elises aren't going to be built on speed set because you're not really going to outspeed with Elise anyway. She's going to be built on HP set to, give that big heal. So I think this is good for stopping Elises on crit. She also gives burn, and what does her passive do? I guess they don't have passives, I forgot. But yeah, I think just because of the recovery down, this shuts down a lot of healers. That she's faster than most of the healers. And you can build her just on speed set and just have her just go and do that. And it's actually like not terrible. And she has recovery down on her S2 as well. With 2 of this low toughness thing. So I don't think Marcial is too terrible. I think she's very, very niche. I think she's the bottom of niche, but I don't think I don't think you can't use her. You know what I mean? Like these units, I don't see why you would ever use them, because you have Ashura. Like Ashura's a free unit, and these are units that you have to summon for. You know what I mean? But Marcio, I think actually does have some usability. Next Clarissa. I actually have no clue what this unit does, but it's gonna be easier to check out her kit because 100 base speed. She's actually not slow. Well, this isn't gonna kill anyone. She's a 4-star. Reduces the enemy action gauge by 15%. That's utility. That is pretty decent utility. And she's a break unit. Okay, she's niche. You could use Clarissa. She has, on her S2, you can push people back, and she has 100 base speed, so she's actually not trash. Surprisingly. I think she's better than Marcio. Yeah, you can use her on the break team. Clarissa's a break unit. She has 2 break. Next is Claire. Is Claire also a break unit? I know she gives herself, she is a break unit. Teaches a rude intruder a lesson by showing off her true skill, increases self-action gauge by 10%. What's her base speed? 90. She's trash. Yeah, if you're 90 and you're just a straight DPS as a 4-star, you're not doing anything, I'm afraid. So Claire just sucks, unfortunately. You can't even make the argument that she's a break unit. Scarlet. What does Scarlet do? Scarlet Burn. How fast is she? 100 base speed. She has potential. Summons a vassal, increase enemy with burn for 2 turns and 100% to do an additional burn. So 2 burns. With Nova Burst, she can do 3 break, and she can do 3 burns. If burn was better, maybe. I think she's trash just because burn is not a real debuff. Burn is the weakest debuff in the game right now. So like doing 3 burns is not super high value. Increase 15% if they're affected by burn. I mean, you're not doing damage with this character. Yeah, I don't think base Scarlet is good. You can make an argument that this is probably supposed to be used with Smile. Like you use Smile for the burn, you have 4 instances of burn. Because you use Smile, you break. You get Nova Burst with her, you break, and she's 100 speed. I don't think you're doing much though. I mean, you could break with her. It's true. You could break green units with her, but she's not. What green unit are you breaking? You're gonna break Yumina, I guess, and Dana. I guess that's true. And Omega. We'll put her in niche, man. Whatever. She's niche. She's very, very niche though. She's like the bottom of the barrel of niche. And maybe if burn becomes better, I think she's still gonna be niche, but she might be like here, you know. But I think she's trash right now. And then lastly, Naru. Let's see what Naru does. F-res down 100%, 3 break. Speed down with, I assume, 100% chance. How fast is she? 100. Why are these 4 stars 100 base speed? Okay. She's probably also decent for break. Yeah, because like on a type disadvantage, she's gonna do 2 break. Okay. With soul burn, obviously. She doesn't do enough though. Like just breaking by itself and F-res down is not. If she did an additional speed down, maybe on turn 2, but she doesn't do enough. I think this is actually the bad 4-star. Her and Claire are the bad 4 stars. I think the other ones you have like a little bit of leeway. Like this character does recovery down, only unit in the game with recovery down. So she counters healers and she's like sort of fast. So you could probably figure out a way to make her faster than healers since she doesn't really need any other stats besides healing and effect hit rate. So you probably just put on 4-piece speed, 2-piece effect hit rate, and you nuke the healers. But Scarlet, she breaks and she's 100 speed, you know, and she burns. She does 3 burns with her S3. So, I mean, it's useful. It's not bad. It's not terrible. It's just not. It's not gonna do much. Actually, I think Scarlet and Martial should be at the top of bad. She has turn gauge reduction, so I think she actually stays in niche. But I think these two are like actually trash. I think Naru's better than Claire. Um, yeah, I think this is how we probably want to leave this. I think they're probably worse than the 5 stars because even if these units like are so bad because Astra is a unit, I think you could still use them and see more success than you would with these 4 stars, you know? So I think this is probably the finalized tier list. I think this is probably the finalized tier list. Yeah, I would